Building blocks of the mind. The scientist in the middle of this map is asking a question Module 2 is built around, and that's what makes me who I am. The answer comes from two directions at once. The 10 key terms for this module are split 5 on the left and 5 on the right to help illustrate this point. On the left is the DNA helix. Everyone is born with a genetic code from their parents, which is your genotype, and you can see it represented here in the DNA helix. But who you actually become, such as your height, your temperament, how your body responds to stress, that's your phenotype. Your phenotype isn't your genes, it's your genes plus your lived experiences. On the bottom left hand corner, we have two identical twins. Heritability measures how much genetics affect a trait across a population, not just for one person. Heritability for traits like stress reactivity is well established through twin studies. If we think about identical twins who grew up in completely different households, went to different schools, and lived with different families, twin studies look at exactly that. And they consistently find that those twins still turn out remarkably similar in things like stress reactivity and anxiety, which emphasizes the role of genetics in the makeup of who we are. Moving across, there's a light bulb. This represents epigenetics, the idea that your experiences can switch genes on or off without changing the DNA itself. This is used to show that the light bulb either lights up or it doesn't. Meany's rat showed this directly. Rats that received less maternal care had stress response genes that stayed switched on permanently. Life experiences left a mark on their biology. On the right, we move across to the neuron. Neurons are the nerve cells carrying information through the brain, and for example, when a threat is detected, an action potential fires. An electrical pulse shoots down the nerve cell towards the end of the axon. And here's what gets interesting. The signal can't cross the gap on its own, so at the synapse, the electrical signal becomes chemical, and that's illustrated by the runners down the bottom. The first runner is like a relay runner handing off the baton. The neuron fires, releases a neurotransmitter, which is the chemical messenger, across the gap, and the next neuron picks it up and keeps the signal going. The more runners practice that handoff, the more efficient it becomes, which is neuroplasticity, the repeated activation that rewires and strengthens those pathways over time. So when you look at the both sides of this map, the DNA and the neuron, they're actually telling the same story. Your genes don't just switch on and stay that way, and your brain doesn't just stay wired the same way forever. Both of them change based on what you go through. That's epigenetics and neuroplasticity. It's nature versus nurture.